All right, hello everybody. I am Nathan Holinsky. I am with the University of Minnesota Extension, and today we are going to be discussing ARC versus PLC, the Farm Bill crop decision for 2025. Again, this webinar will be roughly 1 hour long today. So a brief overview here, we are going to be discussing ARC, the agricultural risk coverage, and PLC, the price loss coverage. That's the two options that crop farmers get to choose between for their Farm Bill programs. So the three main areas that we'll discuss today are what farmers chose in 2024, what 2023 payments were issued, and then what is the best strategy for 2025. So with that, we'll get started with what happened in 2024. So in Minnesota, for the ARC and PLC enrollment, we had 107,000 farms signed up. And some farms can have more than one farm based on their FSA numbers. So 107,000 is the proper number from FSA, but that potentially one farm has multiple FSA numbers. Just kind of help clarify that. We can see in 2023 it was about 106,000 and change, and then in 2022 there were 105,000 and change farms signed up. And we do want to highlight again, this crop insurance decision is based on base acres. So the payments that will potentially get triggered are not on what crops you planted that year. If you planted corn and you have oats base acres, you will get paid on oats base acres and not on the corn that you have planted. So it is not paid on actual plantings. It is based on your historical base acres. Your base acres with FSA will not change every year. So just keep that in mind. Your base acres are a little bit set in stone. They sometimes update with the new Farm Bill, but not always. So just keep that in mind. In Minnesota, we have just over 17 million base acres. Roughly half of that is corn. About a third of it soybeans. We can see about 1 in 6 is wheat. Then we have some barley, oats, and then a few smaller canola, soybean base acres. We have flax, peas, a few acres of sorghum, chickpeas, and rapeseed. So that's the breakdown. Across the United States, there are 274 million base acres across the country. So what has happened? Starting in 2021, farmers had to have the annual election. The first year of the 2018 Farm Bill, farmers elected in 2019. It was a 2-year lock-in for 19 and 20. 2021 was the annual election, and we can see this is the breakdown on corn, soybeans, and wheat with what program was selected. Corn, roughly 60% ARC County, 39% PLC, and a little bit of ARC individual. Soybeans in 21, the vast majority selected ARC County, and wheat, the vast majority selected PLC. 2022, similar story. Corn, again, about 60% ARC County. Soybeans, a little less percent chose ARC County. And then on wheat, almost a 50-50 split between ARC County and PLC. 2023, we can see, again, about 3/4 selected ARC County on corn, about 90% ARC County on soybeans, and on wheat, about 60%. And then this was the selections for last year. So in 2024, we had about 85% ARC County on corn, a little over 11% PLC, soybeans 96% ARC County, and then the wheat ARC County was up to about 71%. So wheat acres have been slowly increasing and selecting ARC County over PLC, but there's still over a quarter of all wheat acres in Minnesota selected PLC. These are Minnesota specific numbers. I don't have the nationwide numbers up here. They're somewhat similar, but there are some differences in the program selections across the country. So that is what has been elected by farmers the last few years. So what happened here in 2023? Were there any payments? In 2022, there were pretty much no payments. So what happened in 2023? And the 2023 crop year payments were issued in October of 2024. So the 2023 crop payments were just paid out about 4 months ago. So we can see on the PL side of things, the effective reference price was $3.70. The final year marketing year average on corn was $4.55. So that market year average price was above the PLC kind of minimum effective reference price of $3.70. No PLC payments on corn. Same story on wheat. $5.50 is the reference price. The marketing year average price, $6.96 at the end of the marketing year for the 2023 growing season. No PLC payments. Same story on soybeans. The effective reference price was $8.40. And then the marketing year average price was $12.40. So a whopping $4 higher on soybeans in the PLC world. And no PLC payments were issued in Minnesota. There's a couple crops in different regions of the country that had small PLC payments, but none that are grown in Minnesota. And this is total payments for that 2023 growing season. 0 payments in PLC, as I just mentioned. In corn, or excuse me, in ARC County, it was a little over $12 million in payments. The vast majority of that was in corn, and we'll highlight that in a minute. There were a few ARC individual contracts paid, and we'll break down what the crops were that go into that in a little bit. So these are the 2023 ARC County payments for Minnesota. Again, these were paid out October of 2024, a little over 12 million in corn payments. So the vast majority of all ARC County payments were in corn. Soybeans, there's a couple counties got payments, a total of $120,000. Oats, some $70,000 statewide. Wheat, a little under $7,000. And there's a little bit of a sunflower payment there with ARC County of $3,200. So again, the vast majority was in corn payments. And these are all of the ARC County payments paid out for the crop year 2023. And central Minnesota broadly got kind of a higher payments with, Benton County, Crow Wing County, Morrison, Todd, Wadena, Sherburne County. They all had somewhat large corn payments for the 2023 crop year. If we remember, a little bit dry. We had some yield issues in the 2023 growing season, and that led to the majority of these payments. Benton County, $60 per acre, a fairly large ARC County payment. And this is a per acre payment, and the ARC County pays out on 85% of base acres that the farmer has enrolled. So if you have 100 acres in Benton County for corn, you will get paid on 85 of those acres at $60 per acre. Cass County, $27 per acre on corn. Hubbard County, $40. Morrison County, again, a fairly high payment of $63. $45 on corn in southern Minnesota and Mower County. Sherburne County, $52. Todd County, $3. Wadena County, $50 on corn. Again, we had some oats payments, Chisago, Crow Wing, Morrison, Pine County. We can see Morrison County paid out on 4 separate crops. So again, they had some kind of drought issues and some yield issues that led to these somewhat significant payments. There were some soybean payments, Crow Wing County, Morrison, Sherburne, and Wadena. And a couple counties had a wheat payment, and Wadena County had a sunflower payment. And again, these payments are based on your base acres that are predetermined through FSA. These are not paid on actual plantings for the growing season, but your historical base acres that is on file. There were also a few ARC individual payments. We can see there were 63 corn payments paid. So 63 separate farm numbers. So 63 different farms had a total of $236,000 in payments for the 2023 growing season. There were 43 contracts, 43 farms were paid $108,000 ARC individual, a few wheat, a couple oats, and one canola payment for $2,000. So all of ARC individual for the whole year in Minnesota was $353,929 in payments. Okay, so just kind of wrapping up these actual payments once more. 2023 growing season on corn, 0 PLC payments, $12 million in change in ARC County, and then roughly $250,000 in ARC individual. So corn ARC did pay pretty decent there for growing the year 2023. Soybeans, we had $120,000 in ARC County payments. There were 506 farms that got paid over those 3 or 4 counties. ARC individual, $108,000 on 43 contracts. And then on wheat, again, no PLC payment was made on wheat. And then there were about $6,982 in ARC County payments. So not a lot, but a few ARC County payments were paid on 144 contracts. So 144 farms. Again, it was a few counties where triggered these payments. And then there were 3 ARC individual payments on wheat for a total of $4,620. So that's all of the payments that were issued in 2023. So what happened here in 2024? So again, I highlighted what was selected by farmers, either ARC County, ARC individual, or PLC for 2024, because that payment was, or that decision was finalized March 15th of 2024. We won't know what payments will be issued until the end of the marketing year. And then marketing year varies by crop. I'll highlight that in a little bit. PLC payments could happen if prices stay low, right? It depends on the reference price. If it's below the reference price, PLC will make a payment. Some counties may get a ARC County payment because if prices stay below our average or below expected or lower prices, and if yield is not above average. If yield is not above average, ARC County may trigger a payment. We did have some heavy water and some drown-out issues, especially in southern Minnesota in the 2024 growing season, that may reduce county average yields, which may trigger an ARC County payment. Again, ARC County is a revenue-based program. I'll highlight that in a little bit. We always have a 1-year lag from harvest before payment. And this is the marketing year. So we can see wheat, it's June 1 through May 31st. The final price is going to be determined the end of June. Same with barley, same with oats. For flaxseed, canola, and dry peas, it's a July 1 through a June 30th marketing year. And then we'll finalize those prices the end of July. So July 31st of 2025, we will have the 2024 crop year marketing year average finalized for flaxseed, canola, dry peas, and then issues can be, or the payments can be finalized. They won't get paid till October, but we will have very concrete numbers come the end of July. And then corn, soybeans, sunflower, and sorghum, their marketing year is September 1 through August 31st, and the final price date is determined on September 30th. And then after September 30th, the payments can get issued. So again, this is the marketing year calendar. And like I've said a couple times, just remember the program year, right? For 2024, the payments won't get issued till October 1st of 2025. So there's always a 1 year late. And the decision that you're going to make in the next month or two in 2025 here, those payments, if warranted, will not get paid out until October 1 of 2026. So again, that's kind of what has happened. So we have a decision to make for 2025, and that's why most people are on the call today. I do want to highlight the decision in 2025. You have until April 15th to go into your county FSA office and finalize your decision for ARC County, PLC, or ARC Individual for your farm. That is a 1 month extension from the last few years. It's typically been March 15th is the deadline. This year, it was postponed an extra month, and April 15th is the deadline. So please don't wait until the final week to make this election. The FSA office would be very happy if you start rolling in and starting to make the decisions in a timely fashion. They do get kind of a rush right before the decision deadlines. So with this, we have some county what-if graphs that I've made, and we'll go over those. We'll talk about the payment maximums and kind of what the payment formula is. And then also there's a crop insurance tie-in that we'll talk about. So again, here we go. So again, annual decision. 2021 started the annual decision for the Farm Bill decision here. And 2025 is another annual pick. So you'll make this decision. And next year, we'll see what happens. But with the 2014 Farm Bill, you made your decision at the first part of it, and you were locked in for 5 years. You couldn't change out of it. So with the 2018 Farm Bill, they changed that so it would become an annual decision, and farmers could update or change their mind year over year. Okay, so we are going to be forward looking. We have some statistics, but we don't have a lot of the finalized numbers here because we're just so early in the marketing year. And we did get a question in the chat box about getting a copy of the slides. Yes, please send me an email and I will send out a copy of the slides that we have here. And also if you want a county specific what-if graph. So we're just going to walk through these what-if graphs. So in this PowerPoint, I just selected one county. I just picked on central Minnesota and I selected Stearns County. There's a lot of farms in Stearns County. I have these what-if graphs for every county in the state. So if you want the what-if graph for Candy-Ojai County or Kitson County or wherever you live, email me and I'll get them sent to you. The what-if graphs that I made are for corn, soybeans, and wheat. All three crops are in there. So if you want them for your specific county, send me an email. I will share my email in a few slides to make that easy. We don't like posting these to the website because campus doesn't love all of our PDFs. So please email me and I'll get them sent to you. So how do we interpret this graph? So again, I picked on Stearns County. The average ARC county yield in Stearns County is 170 bushels. That's an Olympic average over the last 5 years. Olympic average means they delete the high and the low and average the other 3 years for the preceding 5 years. So they have 5 numbers, drop the high, drop the low, they average the middle 3. That's the Olympic average. The USDA likes to use those. I also want to highlight the PLC yield. Your individual farm has their own PLC yield. So the county average up here says 141 for Stearns County on corn. Your individual PLC yield might be higher or lower. It's probably relatively close, but that does change for each farm. So just keep that in mind. So we have the yellow section here, the PLC payment. PLC will pay out for the 2025 crop year if the marketing year average price on corn is below $4.26. Okay, so we can see if we have $4.01 marketing year average price, and at that yield of 141 bushels, you can expect to get about a $30 per acre payment. That's what PLC will pay at $4.01. We have that $3.76. So if corn continues to slide down throughout the rest of the marketing year, again, that won't wrap up for quite a few months. We could get even a $60 payment. If corn, the bottom falls out of it, and we have $3 corn, you can get $150 per acre payment with PLC. The green bars are ARC County payments. So again, we just have the red box around the county average yield of 170 bushels. So at 170 bushel, that's the county average yield. At $4.26, you'll get an $8.81 payment per acre. Okay, if the marketing year price drops a little bit and we have $4 corn for the marketing year average, your ARC payment will be about $45 per acre at county average yields. Okay, if our yield drops a little bit below average, so we have a 10% drop, if you have 153 county acre or county yield, even at $4.76 corn, you'll get a $5 per acre payment. If we have 450 corn, that's a $37 per acre payment. And at 426, that's the current reference price, it's a $70 payment. So the maximum payment per acre on ARC County is $72.60 for Stearns County. Okay, and you can see that's the biggest number on the screen. If price drops a lot or yield drops a lot, that will be triggered. So yeah, we have a few questions coming in about getting a copy of the slides and also a copy of these what if graphs. Again, please email me. I will share that in a little bit, and I will send them to you for each individual county or the county that you want. So that is how we read the what if graph here for ARC or for corn. We can see the graph here, 179 county yield will produce an ARC payment at the current World Agricultural Supply and Demand estimate price of $4.10. So that's the current USDA expected price is $4.10. At $4.10, if that holds true, ARC will make a payment at above average ARC County yield at 179 bushels. Okay, so there's some statistics. You know, if ARC yield drops slightly below average, ARC County will potentially make a payment for 2025. And then PLC, again, if it's below 426 on corn, will pay out on corn. Here's the same graph with soybeans. So a similar story. So the magic number for PLC on soybeans is $9.66. So we can see if price is above $9.66, there's zero payment on PLC. If it's below that, we can get a payment. And again, this is the nationwide USDA determined marketing year average price. This is not, you know, what we're getting paid in Sauk Center at the local elevator, right? We're not really taking into account basis. The USDA looks at futures prices, averages them throughout the entire marketing year to determine the price. So it's not your price, it's a national set price, but 966 is the magic number on PLC, on soybeans. And again, if you have 941 on soybeans, we're going to get $8.47 per acre payment. And the slower the marketing year price, the higher the PLC payment. back to ARC County in green, we can see at 1041, we will get a $5.62 payment on ARC County on soybeans. So at 48 bushel county yield, which is right around the ARC County average for Stearns County, at the current USDA World Agricultural Supply and Demand estimate, we'll get a payment at average prices, or at average yields, because price is below average. We can see if we have below average yields at 42 bushels per acre, you're pretty much, I don't want to say guaranteed a payment, but unless prices increase significantly, a payment will get triggered, right? Even at $11.16 marketing year price, we'll have $29 per acre payment on soybeans. The maximum payment on soybeans in Stearns County is $49 per acre. So hopefully that helps clarify how to read this table. The last one here is wheat. And I'll see, again, if you have questions, please use the Q&A box. And the payment here is, there's a question on if they are paid on base acres, and yes, these are paid on base acres. So if you only have 100 base acres of corn, but you planted 500 acres of corn, you are getting paid out on the 100 acres. And it's paid out on 85% of your base acres. The ARC County yields, those do update annually. The 2020, so the 2025. So the question is, when are the ARC County yield per county made available? Last year's numbers should be available now. The 2025 numbers won't be finalized until after 2025. So there's always kind of a lag, but the previous years should be highlighted or should be known. So this is the wheat what if table. The ARC County yield on wheat in Stearns County is 36 bushels per acre. The PLC yield, again, each individual farm has their own PLC yield. The average for the county is 38. So a 36 bushel county yield, so that is the ARC average in Stearns County, will make a payment at the current outlook price at $5.60. So at 36 bucks, or 36 bushels per acre, we're going to have right around a $4 per acre payment in ARC. So the magic PLC number on wheat is $5.56. So if it's below $5.56 on wheat, you will trigger a PLC payment. And we can see at 531, that's around $8 per acre. At 506, it's around $16 per acre. Depends on the marketing year average price. So with PLC, it is the difference between the marketing year average price and the effective reference price of $5.56 for 2025, and it'll pay the difference based on your individual PLC yields. So hopefully, again, this what if graph is helpful. Highlighting here, PLC has a high maximum payment. So the maximum payment is the reference price, the effective reference price minus the loan rate. So on corn, the effective reference price is $4.26, loan rate's $2.20. So if prices drop off the face of the earth, you could get $2.06 per bushel payment with PLC. On soybeans, you could get up to $3.46 per bushel payment through PLC. On wheat, again, you could get upwards of $2.18 per bushel. That's the maximum payment. I do want to highlight getting that large of a payment is highly unlikely, but that's the way the formula is set up. So again, kind of the worst case scenario price-wise, for the farm with 160 bushel PLC yield, the maximum payment there is actually $329 per acre. So that's 160 yield times that $2.06 maximum payment per bushel, and then at 85% of base acres. So you can get up to $329 per acre. But that to trigger that large of a payment, you would need to have prices drop below $2. So hopefully we don't get corn quite that low because that'd be a little bit dramatic, but there are a possibility of a large PLC payment. They haven't happened in the last few years, but it's possible. So with ARC County, it's maxed out at 10% of benchmark revenue. So in Minnesota, the typical high payment, the typical maximum on corn's around $70 for a lot of counties. We can see it's between $40 and $75. For some of the wheat or oats, it could even be a maximum payment of like $30 to $40. 10% of benchmark revenue is the maximum that is allowed. ARC individual, the maximum payment's generally lower because it only pays out on 65% of base acres. So ARC County and PLC both pay on 85% of base acres, but ARC individual, it's the same 10% of benchmark revenue, but it only pays on 65% of base acres. So again, potential for PLC to have a really large payment, but prices have to be very, very low. ARC individual typically has the lowest maximum of all payments. Potentially, ARC individual can pay out at the maximum level if the farm is 100% prevent plant. I know roughly 5 years ago that actually was, I don't want to say widely used, but it was used that the farm was 100% prevent plant, and then ARC individual was a very opportunistic choice for certain farmers to select. And we do want to highlight each farm or entity has a $125,000 payment limitation per farm per year. So, let's just say with that PLC maximum payments, a lot of farms would be maxed out at that $125,000 limit if we had these huge payments of, $3 per bushel per acre. So PLC, ARC County, ARC individual, what is the best fit for you? We just walked through some of those what if graphs, and then to highlight what are some of the expected payments across the state, but just more specifically what goes into them. So PLC is a price only tool. So it only looks at national price and it's based on the reference price. The effective reference price again is $4.26 on corn. It is $9.66 on soybeans and $5.56 on wheat. So if the marketing year average price drops below that, PLC will pay out the difference. Okay, it pays out on 85% of base acres, and also with PLC, we have some other crop insurance options that we'll highlight. So again, with PLC, it's the difference between the reference price and the marketing year average price. Pays out on 85% of base acres for each commodity. Next, I want to highlight the SCO. So there's a supplemental coverage option for crop insurance. So it's not directly tied in with the Farm Bill decision, but if you want to use SCO with crop insurance, you have to select PLC. Okay, so SCO covers county-wide, so it's not individual farm-specific yields. It's going to be county-wide yields, but it'll be from 86% of revenue down to your individual crop insurance number. So maybe you want to buy 65% farm revenue protection crop insurance for your farm and take SCO that would cover from 66% up to 86%. Okay, so if you're not currently at the 85% revenue protection with crop insurance, you could add this subsidized SCO, supplemental coverage option, and it's relatively cheap. It's cheaper than farm-specific crop insurance at that same incremental coverage level. And we have some graphs that kind of help highlight the payments that SEO or what the premiums are per acre. Okay, so if you're currently at 85% revenue protection with crop insurance, you could drop back and use SEO to get a little bit more protection at a cheaper price. And it's going to be county level, not farm specific though with SEO. So that's the one kind of downside with it. County wide, it's going to have a lower likelihood of a payout versus farm specific. Just be more acres under that. So SEO was introduced in the 2014 Farm Bill. And we can see with this beautiful graph here that red, the maroon section is your individual crop insurance coverage up to X%. So if you want to get 65% all the way up to 85%, whatever that is, SEO will cover the difference from 86% to where your individual crop insurance protection level is, your coverage level. So SEO has a 65% subsidy rate, so it's pretty decent, and it can be a good option. SEO is limited to acres enrolled in PLC. So if you select ARC County, then SEO is not an option. So just keep that in mind. And with the way prices are, PLC is a little more attractive this year than it has been the last few years. As I started this workshop a half hour ago, there hasn't been a ton of PLC selection in corn or soybeans. Now, there might be a little bit more farmers selecting PLC because of lower prices, and then maybe to select this supplemental coverage option for crop insurance. So that's SEO. Supplemental coverage option you have to use on PLC acres, or you can only use SEO on PLC acres. The other option with crop insurance is the enhanced coverage option. So slightly different. This was a newer tool. It was introduced in 2021, and it provides even more additional county level coverage. So again, it's county level, not farm specific, but it'll cover from 86% to 90 or 95%. So it's really this top end coverage. You can see that yellow section on the table over here, 90 to 95% coverage is what it's going to pay out. So shallow losses are relatively high likelihood of triggering payments. So with ECO, you can use the enhanced coverage options crop insurance tool on ARC County acres. So you do not have to use PLC as you do with supplemental coverage option. You can use ECO on ARC County or ARC individual acres. So that's the one big difference. And when this tool started in 2021, it was a 44% subsidy rate, and it wasn't highly utilized. But new here in 2025, the subsidy rate is increasing to 65%. So if farmers select the ECO option, it's, a 21% increase in the subsidy rate, and you have to pay out of pocket 21% less. So it's a lot cheaper to use in 2025 than it was in 2024. So it might be a more advantageous option now than it was the last few years. So please keep ECO in mind. It might be a good tool. To kind of wrap this up, the enhanced coverage option, again, is this yellow high-end county-wide crop insurance tool. You can use it without using SEO. That SEO is from your crop insurance level to 86% revenue protection. And SEO only works with PLC. ECO will work with either ARC or PLC. And again, the ECO subsidy rate increased to 65% here in 2025. So a significant increase in the premium subsidy that makes it more attractive to use. So just kind of highlight, this is a rough estimate of crop insurance per county payments. And this is per acre. So we can see in that first graph, if you want to get 65% revenue protection crop insurance, that's $8.78 per acre on corn. This is Stearns County specific. And if you want to use SCO at the 65% coverage level up to, and then getting that 86% countywide payment, that is now $25 per acre. That is significantly cheaper than buying the 85% revenue protection only at $47 per acre, right? You're saving some $20 per acre using SCO. So that's kind of the big benefit of it. And again, our next column over highlights the ECO at both 90% and ECO at 95%, also with using the SCO tool. And you can see there's a bunch of different price points. Even if you want to use revenue protection and ECO at 95% on the far right of this column, at 65% coverage level, we're talking $22.57 per acre, $22.57. And we compare that using the revenue protection only. There's a big price difference. So utilizing ECO and or SCO can really reduce your crop insurance premiums. So that's why I want to highlight that today. And I do want to reiterate as well, your crop insurance decision is due March 15th. Your ARC County PLC decision is not finalized until April 15th this year. So keep that in mind. If you want to use SCO, you need to select PLC for those acres. So just bear that in mind. Again, this is kind of a hypothetical average here. If you are interested in either ECO or SCO, please talk with your crop insurance agent. They will understand this. They will have some kind of tips and tricks here on the best ways or best prices for your individual farm, but it can be a good tool. We have a question in the box here about yield effect PLC. So again, your individual farm will have their own PLC yield for the base acres that you have. So let's just say that you have corn, your PLC yield is 150 bushels. PLC will pay at the price difference determined in the formula, the difference between effective, the effective reference price and the actual marketing your average price. Let's say it's 10 cents for the year. It'll pay that 10 cents for the yield that you have on your individual farm. So hopefully that helped clarify that question on PLC. So highlighting ARC County. So ARC County is a revenue-based tool. Okay. So again, it'll use the same national price that PLC uses. It's the same price, but ARC County is looking at county yields. Okay, so you're going to protect your yield variation, your county-wide yield variation, but not your individual farm. You know, let's just say that there's a small pocket of hail, or a small pocket of a drown-out area, and your individual farm had bad yields. Our county doesn't. It looks at that because you're in the same county, but just because your individual farm had bad yields doesn't necessarily trigger an ARC County payment, because ARC County is county-wide yields. Payments will be issued with ARC County when actual county revenue, so that's going to be county average yield times that marketing year average price, is less than 86% of the 5-year Olympic average. And again, the 5-year Olympic average is just going back 5 years, and it'll take out the highest, take out the lowest, and average the middle 3. So your guarantee is the 5-year Olympic average from the previous 5 years of county revenue. And if again, if If that county is 86% or less, our county will trigger a payment to kind of fill in the gap between the average and what this year was. Okay, so again, this also pays out on 85% of base acres. So if you have 100 acres of corn, you will get paid out on 85 of those acres, right? 85%. ARC individual is revenue based, but it's more complicated. It's looking only at your individual farm. There's more paperwork involved. With ARC county, you take the county numbers and it kind of is what it is. ARC individual wants to know your individual yield. So you will have more records required to sign up for it. It's a whole farm program. It only pays out on 65% of base acres. Difference, than PLC or ARC County. ARC Individual was designed for some of the really large counties with large variation in yield, east to west or north to south, with some of the western counties that just have really large counties with large variability within them. Payments based on the commodities planted. This is your individual farm yield and not your county yield. Kind of like the name suggests, ARC individual and ARC county. I do have a question showing the marketing year average prices for the last 5 years. I have that data, Peter. I don't have it in the slide set. I can share that towards the end. I have to pull up my spreadsheets that it's in, but I can find that and share it towards the end of the program. But that's how ARC individual works. If your production is highly variable year to year, I know I've talked with farmers where they have 1 acre that's one field that's near a river bottom or something, and 1 out of 5 years they don't get it planted, or it's really, really late due to the wetness. And ARC individual worked well for them because it was really highly variable. If your ARC individual farm yield is much higher than the county yield, like 30% or more, then it might be a good option. Fruits and vegetable production on some of these non-program acres, ARC individual might be a good fit. All right, so they have a question here about what is the ARC County yields for 2024. So Rick, the ARC County yields for 2024 should be known. And actually, if you go to the USDA's website, they have a ton of this information. So a lot of the data that I put in this PowerPoint is straight from the USDA's website on payments. And I can look at that, Rick, and send me an email. I can try to share that information with you, but it is available. So again, moving forward here in 2025, what's the best strategy? PLC, ARC County, or ARC Individual? I shared the what if tool that I helped create and updated here for this year to trigger payments. There also are a FarmDoc website. FarmDoc is the kind of agricultural economics team out of the University of Illinois. They put a lot of fantastic tools together, and I'm going to walk through one of them right now. Also, the University of Minnesota Extension's website. We do have a bunch of Farm Bill information on there. May need to get a little update on our website, but we do have information available. So this is the FarmDoc calculator. So it's kind of similar to the what if graphs that I shared. These ones are a little bit more information. I just don't want it to sound overwhelming. So again, I just selected Stearns County, and we can see the county average yield is 170 bushels. Again, it's the same data that's put into the worksheets that I assembled, and they are saying that a PLC payment is expected to be $6 per acre. And the ARC County payment is expected to be $18 per acre. That is what the FarmDoc calculator is saying based on current prices and expected yields or expected prices. And what goes into that? This is this kind of same table. So they're saying at $4.10 price on corn, at 170 county average yield is a $33 per acre payment. And if we have 175 bushel county yield, that is a $15 per acre payment. And we can see the highest payment that we can get is $73, right? I think in my table it said $72.60. They round up on Farm Doc here to 73 bucks. That's the maximum payment with ARC County. And even we can see if we have $4.35 corn for the marketing year average price, you will get a $15 payment at 165 yield, bushels per acre yield county average. And again, the yield is the county average, not your farm specific, the county average. So this is what ARC County looks like from Farm Doc. And again, anyone can go to Farm Doc's website and download this farm bill calculator. If you just go to do a simple Google search and say Farm Doc farm bill calculator, it'll come right up. I can help anyone use it if you have questions. Here's the same thing with PLC, where we have the PLC payment. And again, PLC is based on your individual farm's yields, but the price is determined. So at 410, you'll get a $17 per acre payment. Okay, if you have the marketing, your average price is $385, you'll get a $45 per acre payment on PLC. So if you think that price is really going to come down, PLC might be the better option. If you think price is going to stay relatively stable and yields will be average or slightly below, ARC County might pay out a little bit more. Okay, so this is what the Farm Doc calculators is telling us. Again, it's the same data that's in the University of Minnesota calculator, just a little different layout. Consider prices for your 2025 decision, right? So currently our estimated prices moving forward are around 410 on corn, 560 on wheat, and 1020 on soybeans. So for soybeans, the PLC payment drop off is 966. So 1020 is well above that. It's 556 on wheat, so we're kind of right around that PLC payment. And then on corn, the PLC magic number is 426. So kind of keep that in mind with where we're at. Again, we won't know the actual 2025 marketing year average price for another 21 months. It'll be September of 2026. So we're about a year and a half out yet. So we need to keep that in mind, that these can change kind of dramatically, potentially in the next year and a half. So these numbers are not finalized. So the conclusion here is misprint up here. With lower prices, both ARC County and PLC can trigger a payment. There is a realistic opportunity for both to have a payment. ARC County could trigger with low yields. Even at average prices, ARC County will probably pay out, will make a payment with average prices and average yield because prices are lower. If SEO is desired, you cannot use ARC. So then you must select PLC. So far in 2025, as of the end of January, so a couple weeks ago, there were about 26,000 contracts signed with FSA. That's about 25% of what we're seeing. So about 1 in 4 farms made this decision already. So keep that in mind. And again, I want to highlight your decision is due on April 15th. But FSA would be very appreciative if you would not sign up that, right at the deadline. So hopefully, if you guys want to send me an email, and I'll send you those what if graphs for 2025, that'll highlight the best decision for you guys moving forward. You can peek at some futures prices and say, hey, if you think prices are going to come up, PLC might not be the best option. If you think prices are going to come down, PLC might be a good option. If you think yields might be a little bit lower this next season due to too much rain, too little rain, too hot, too cold, whatever it is. If you want to look at some long-term forecasts, then ARC County might be the best option. But we looked at what happened in 2024, what payments were triggered in 2023, and looked at some strategies into 2025. So again, we'll stick around for questions. I know that was relatively quick, but it was right at an hour. So again, I am Nathan Holinsky. I'm out of Brainerd. My email is on the screen here, huli0013@umn.edu. If you email me, I will send you either the what-if graphs for your specific counties, or I can send you the slide set from today's workshop. I will also post this recorded webinar to YouTube, and you can watch this at a future time. My phone number is also on the screen there, 218-828-2680. That is my office number in Brainerd, and I do check that I'm not in the office every day. So leave a message. I'll get back to you when I can if you have any questions moving forward. And with that, I will go through any questions. All right, so I will just start with the first one. So can you show, I'll have to peek, Peter, at those 5-year Olympic average prices. They do exist, and I have them. The 2024 ARC County yields should be on USDA's website. I can look that up as well. So we have a question here. Is my assumption correct that the marketing year average price used for 2025 Farm Bill is computed using the monthly average from September through August? Correct. I shared those marketing year calendars. But yes, Randy, that is correct. It's kind of September 1 through August 31st. So it's, again, the average for that period. So correct. I have a question about, do you only need to sign up if you want to change your current elections? It's an anonymous question. I believe the correct answer is yes, but I know for a fact that your local FSA office would appreciate a phone call to say, hey, I want to stick with what I did in the past. And I believe no matter what, you have to go in and sign the paperwork, even if you don't want to change your selection. So please, please call your FSA office and say, hey, I want to continue with what I did last year. I'll come in on next Monday and sign it. So just please reach out to your FSA office. It makes it easier for everyone. So you need to sign even if you are keeping the election you do. If you do not sign, you're not eligible. So yes, you do need to go to the office and sign your name on the on the worksheets to just show that you are signing up. So you do need to go to the FSA office and sign your name. So we got a question about, yes, I am currently on paternity leave. I just had a baby and I'm taking care of my baby, but I will get back to your email. So just send me an email, Carol. I'll respond to it. But yes, I am technically on paternity leave as we speak, but I am dedicated to helping you guys out. So I'm working. So just email me. Yes, I have a new son. He's pretty fun. Okay, so I have a couple. I am